All right. This is going to be the 180 multi number one.
Final.
Huh?
Final.
Final number one. The terms are blah and El Dorado. And I'm going to be Ms.
Batiste,
Okay. I'm going to be Ms. Batiste.
the witness.
Mr. McDonald.
Ms. Batiste.
The witness.
Mr. McDonald.
And we'll start with questioning by Ms. Batiste. Are you claiming that your injury somehow affected your relationship with your wife?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, what? Are you talking what kind of relationship?
Sexual.
Yeah, maybe.
For how long?
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Well, prior to the accident, I couldn't do anything.
You mean after the accident?
After the accident, yeah. After the accident, yeah.
For how long a period of time?
A fair amount of time.
Can you try to be a little more specific than that? 10 weeks, 3 months?
Oh, no. Probably 6 months, I would say.
You had no sexual activities with your wife at all?
If we did, it was limited.
What about as far as the more, well, love, companionship, affection, that sort of thing? Do you think that was affected in any way?
Oh, no, no.
Did she assist you when you needed her or when you were injured, that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Did she pick up any slack?
Anything, right.
You didn't feel like she lost respect for you or anything because of these injuries?
No, I don't think so. If she hasn't told me.
You don't think she loves you any less because of it?
No.
Are you able to have you returned to your pre-accident sexual activity?
No, I haven't.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's probably a combination of the shoulder. I don't know. There is a relationship, but the reason I can't tell you. I don't know.
Well, I don't want to get into this area if it is not a big item claim of damages.
Oh, no. I'm not going to claim on that. No. It's just, no. It was just that's just hearsay.
So I will not get into that area then because it's private and I'm not interested in that area unless you're going to come up at the time of trial and say,
Oh, no.
So you're not claiming it's an item of damage, that somehow these injuries hurt your relationship with your wife, either emotional or physical?
Well, I mean, if this was going on, and then say I go to a doctor and he evaluates and he says, well, blah, blah, blah. I can't perceive what some physician might say in the future.
but up to this point at least,
Up to this point, yeah.
you're not. So I will not,
Right.
you're not going to waive any claim for damages that might or might not arise because of injuries sustained in the accident due to affecting either the emotional or physical relationship with your spouse.
Up to this point?
Up to this point.
Up to this point, yeah.
Anything else besides raising and lifting your shoulder that you could not do before the accident that you could do after the accident?
Well, I ride the park. I don't go out on the street alone. I haven't done that.
And why is that?
I'm just terrified. Too scared of cars coming up behind me. It's too crazy out there.
Has it caused you any other psychological problems? I mean, I'm not trying to characterize it as a necessary problem, but I mean, obviously you rode on the street before.
Yeah. I used to ride all the time. Yeah, I rode on the street a lot.
And now you're reluctant to do it?
If I'm with the club, I'll do it. I'll do it because we are such a large number. There's 70 or 80 of us.
Where do you ride now?
At the park, El Dorado.
Is there some type of a...
It's a closed course.
What does that mean?
It's not open to open traffic. It's a road around the park, around the lake.
You just ride around that a bunch of times?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do that. And it's real limited speed-wise, and there's no traffic there at all. Virtually none. Just ducks, And during the day, you can go out there for 2 hours and not see a car. Just people fishing. It's pretty safe to ride. It's real safe.
Excuse me, I'm going to make a sort of belated objection to something you asked him a moment ago about. Just for clarification, you asked him if he was at this point making a claim for loss of consortium, I think, is the nature of what you were getting at. I'm going to object to your question as to asking him to waive any claim as to that. I don't think it's adequate for him to waive anything. I think what he was trying to say is that at this point, he's not making a claim for loss of consortium.
Well, the problem with that is that I can either get into all that, which I don't really think he wants me to, nor do I want to.
Right. The only thing I'm objecting to is your question if he is waiving that. I mean, he stated that he wasn't making a claim at this point, or that nothing has really affected his relationship to this extent. But to say he's waiving it, I think, is a bit overreaching, or asking him to waive it is a
Hi.
I need to register for the class.
Oh, it's further down the hall?
Further
Yeah.
All right, this is the 180 multi-voice final number 2. The terms are Visa, Discover, El Paso, Stephen, Mr. Bob Ferguson, Mark, layperson, Texas Penal Code, Deposition Exhibit 1, and Mrs. Morris. I'm going to be Mr. Erkslaven.
The witness.
Mr. Hughes.
Mr. Erkslaven.
The witness.
Mr. Hughes.
And we'll start with questioning by Mr. Erkslaven. Did he pay for any of the bills that she had, like Visa or Discover card?
Not that I was aware of.
Did he allow her to charge on his credit card?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Did he speak with his mother often?
While we were in El Paso, yes.
While you were married?
While we were married, yes.
And while you were in El Paso, did that continue?
He called.
Okay. I would like to go back to the arguments that you had prior to getting married. How long would those arguments last?
An hour or two. I don't remember.
After an hour or two, would he allow you to leave if he had been denying you that?
Yes.
So he wouldn't imprison you all weekend or anything like that, would he?
No.
Okay.
There was one time when he tied me up and would not.
Tied you up all weekend?
No, he didn't tie me up all weekend. And I was telling him to let me go so I could leave. After doing that for some time, he finally did let me go. I had rings around my wrists.
How long after that did you see him again?
A day or two. I went a couple of days without talking to him. I mean, he called me. He always called me, insisting to talk to me.
Did you always go to his apartment, or did he come to your house?
He came to my house on a couple of occasions when I was refusing to talk to him.
For the most part, did you go to his apartment?
For the most part, yes.
Did you have a key to his apartment?
Yes.
When you say you decided to leave that night and you took the cat, had you decided to leave for good or just for the night?
I knew I would be accused of sleeping with everyone in El Paso the next day, and that I had decided that something had to be done because I was not going to continue being accused of sleeping with everyone. The verbal abuse, the threats to kill me had to stop.
Did you tell him that?
No, I had decided though.
When you left the apartment, did you call your mom and dad?
No.
For the entire time you were in El Paso, except for that particular night, he hadn't had anything to drink. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
But he continued to threaten to kill you?
Yes.
So this was not just when he was drunk.
No.
Had you ever hurt him?
Had I ever hurt him?
Had you ever hit him?
No.
Had you ever hit him with something?
No.
Did Stephen get into fights often?
With me or with others?
With other people?
He got into one fight when we were together, but other than that, no.
Was this while you were married?
No.
Okay. That particular night, were you mad at him?
I was mad at the way he was being.
Were you mad at him for calling you those names?
Yes, I was mad at him.
Were you mad at him for bringing these people over uninvited?
I was mad because he had made arrangements for them to stay the night and for us to take them home, and we didn't have the car to carry all these people.
Were you mad at him because he wouldn't let you go?
Yes.
Did you threaten him that night?
No.
Did you speak with the 911 operator?
No.
Okay. Did you relay the address through Mr. Bob Ferguson?
Yes, I did.
You indicated a while ago Mr. Bob Ferguson refused to call 911. Is that correct?
He was hesitant to call 911, yes.
Why was that?
I would imagine it's because of what he told Mark, that was the second stabbing that he had witnessed. I had to tell him, call 911.
Would you describe the stabbing as an accident?
Yes,
Was it an accident that you stabbed him, or was it an accident that he died?
both.
It wasn't self-defense?
I don't understand him.
Have him explain it to you.
Were you using the knife to protect yourself?
Excuse me?
After conferring with your counsel, I'm asking you, were you using the knife to protect yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
You mean self-defense as a layperson would understand it?
Yes,
Not as it would be in the Texas Penal Code?
that's correct.
Just as a layperson would understand self-defense?
Let me take about a 5-minute break and co-counsel for a second, and we'll be ready to finish it up. Before we go any further, I would like to have that marked as Deposition Exhibit 1. Mrs. Morris, in looking at that diagram one more time, would you say that from where you were standing, you had to stretch to reach that knife?
No.
You could just simply place your hand behind you and grab the knife?
Yes, sir.
And is that how you acquired that knife?
Yes, sir.
You did not turn to get that knife?
No, sir.
Was there anything other than that knife on that counter?
No.
Were there plates, glasses, salt and pepper shakers?
There could have been salt and pepper shakers. I know I had put up the dishes.
Were there All right, this is the 160 multi-final number 1. Names are John Lerner, Riverbend County. Mr. Lerner, Big Hole Basin, Big Hole. Glenwood, Old Perkins, Harry Richmond, Carl Henning, Carl London, Dan Perkins, Mr. Henning, Mr. London, and Charlie Henning. I'm going to be Mr. Sharp.
The witness?
The court.
Mr. Sharp,
The witness?
The court.
and it starts with questioning by Mr. Sharp. Give the court reporter your name, please.
John Lerner.
How long have you been a resident of Riverbend County?
Since 1916.
Where do you live, Mr. Lerner?
Where do I live?
Yes,
Now?
yes.
Big Hole Basin.
How long have you been a resident of Big Hole Basin?
17 years.
Do you own any land in the Big Hole?
Yes, sir.
Where are they located generally?
10 miles northwest of Glenwood.
Do you own a ranch there?
Yes, sir.
What's the name of the ranch?
Well, we call it the Old Perkins place.
Who did you buy that place from?
Harry Richmond.
And when?
47.
Do you know Carl Henning and Carl London?
Yes, sir.
What's the name of the ranch?
Well, we call it the Old Perkins place.
Who did you buy that place from?
Harry Richmond.
And when?
47.
Do you know Carl Henning and Carl London?
Yes, sir.
Do you know the location of their ranch?
Yes, sir.
Where is it with relation to yours?
It lays south and west of me.
Do you know the boundaries between your ranch and the Henning and London place?
Yes, sir.
With reference to the 9-acre tract which lies on the east side of Henning and London Ranch, do you know where the boundary is between your ranch and the Henning and London Ranch?
Yes, sir.
Please strike the answer of the witness as calling for a conclusion as to a matter of law.
You know who is the owner of the area of approximately 9 acres which lies to the east of the Henning and London Ranch? Do you claim it, Mr. Lerner?
Absolutely. I paid for it.
Do you know if Henning and London claimed that 9 acres?
I don't know. Didn't know until the sheriff came and served papers on me.
When did that happen?
The fall of 52.
Up until that time, you had no knowledge that Henning or London or either or both of them claimed that land?
None whatever, no. I looked up the record and the tax receipts.
Have you made any effort to find out what the records show who is the owner of that?
It showed that Perkins owned it.
You can answer that yes or no.
You can answer the question yes or no.
Yes or no?
Did you make any effort to find out?
I certainly did, yes.
What effort did you make?
Came to the courthouse and asked the county assessor what land was mine and what wasn't, and what I had to pay taxes on. And there was 2,264 acres.
Strike that statement that there was 2,264 acres is not responsive to the question.
Do you know Dan Perkins?
Very well.
Have you ever talked to Mr. Perkins about where the boundary lays between you and London and Henning?
Yes, sir.
Where is the location that Mr. Perkins said was the boundary?
That is hearsay, counselor. Please rephrase the question.
All right. Mr. Lerner, did you ever have any discussion with either Mr. Henning or Mr. London about who owned the land, that 9 acres?
Did I ever have what?
Any discussion with either Mr. Henning or Mr. London about who owned that land?
Well, now just what do you mean, when?
Well, did you ever have one?
Yes, sir.
Did you have one before you were served with any papers?
Yes.
When was the first time that you can recall that you had such a discussion?
Spring of 51.
Who was there?
Charlie Henning
And who else?
and myself.
What was said?
Well, now I can't say yes or no to this, so I am going to have to tell the story. Is that all right or not?
Go ahead.
Just tell what was said.
All right. I went up there, and this road that I was supposed to have torn up was a county road or a public road.
Mr. Lerner, you were asked to tell what was said between you and Mr. Henning. Possibly you may be able to explain later on.
I went up this road where it went through my field.
Just a minute. I will withdraw the question and go at it this way. Mr. Lerner, where did this discussion take place?
Right at about 60 feet from the corner of this land that they are suing me for, above their root cellar.
And you have said that Mr. Henning was there with you?
That's right.
What was your purpose in going there?
What was my purpose in going there?
Yes.
To change this road above the root cellar and get out of their yard where I had to take my cattle through.
Now, describe to the court Okay, this is going to be 160 multi-voice final number 2. Terms are Roadrunner, Ms. Ramirez, Jessica Soto, MOA, Elisa Ramirez, Embassy, Hoagland, X, Exhibit 2, and Ms. Ramirez. I'm going to be Mr. Arrieta.
The witness?
Mr. Camacho.
Mr. Arrieta.
The witness?
Mr. Camacho.
And we start with questioning by Mr. Arrieta. Roadrunner, meaning the municipal buses.
Yes, the municipal transit bus.
Do you recall talking to the child, the pedestrian?
Yes.
What do you recall, if anything, that she may have expressed to you regarding the accident?
Only what I documented, that she didn't see Ms. Ramirez's vehicle. I really don't recall anything else.
At any point in time, did any other individuals arrive to the accident site, family, relatives, anything like that?
I want to say the mother, but I'm not sure.
Well, if you are not sure, that's fine. We don't want you to guess or anything. Just tell us what you know for sure.
Okay, I understand.
Your police report indicates that an ambulance service was called.
Yes,
Was that for the pedestrian?
yes, it was.
Was the pedestrian at the time that the ambulance arrived able to walk on her own?
I didn't see her walking on her own. I have a personal opinion, but that's about it.
I don't know if that is really what he is asking you. He wants to know what you saw, not what you think.
That's all right. I want to hear what her opinion is. What is your opinion? Was she able to walk?
Yes,
Did she appear to be scared or injured?
both.
Did you receive any information as to whether or not there were pedestrians or fellow schoolmates near Jessica Soto at the time of this accident?
I don't remember.
Were there any enforcement actions taken?
Verbally, no citations.
What kind of verbal enforcement action was taken?
It's an ordinance under the pedestrian section where a pedestrian has to yield to oncoming vehicles at an intersection where there's no crosswalk. Basically just failure to yield.
So you verbally warned the pedestrian of the ordinance.
I believe so.
Is that reflected at the bottom of the second page of your police report?
Yes, it is.
In the middle of that second page, there's a box for diagram, and there appears to be a dash and then someone's initial. Was a diagram ever taken?
No. MOA means either the parties or the vehicles were moved on my arrival, before my arrival.
So under those circumstances, you wouldn't take any diagrams or any measurements.
That's correct.
I think earlier you said that when you arrived, the vehicle of Elisa Ramirez was east of Embassy.
Embassy, yes.
How far east of the corner of Embassy and Hoagland was the vehicle?
I don't remember. I just knew it was on the east side of Embassy.
Did it appear that the pedestrian attempted to cross the street, not at the corner, but further up the street?
Object to the form of the question.
Are you instructing the witness not to answer?
No, he can answer the question if he knows what happened.
Yes.
Let me have you draw a diagram of the street and the intersection of Embassy and Hoagland, and I'd like you to indicate where you found Ms. Ramirez's vehicle and put an X where the child was found either sitting or whatever she was doing.
Basically, in this area somewhere. I know it wasn't at the corner.
Why don't you put the word Ramirez in the box? I understand this is not to scale.
Okay,
Why don't you go ahead and label the streets, officer?
okay.
Was there a municipal bus somewhere nearby?
The bus?
I hope you realize that was a little vague. I don't think he knows what you are asking.
You are right. I will clarify that for him. The bus, was it stopped or parked somewhere in the area?
Yes, it was stopped back here somewhere.
Why don't you draw a box in the approximate area where the bus was stopped?
Okay,
Was the bus headed east or west?
it was headed east.
The way you've drawn your diagram, it appears that the bus was on the left side of Hoagland, where incoming traffic would have been coming towards west, right? Was the bus parked on that side of the street?
You mean closer to the line?
Well, I'm not sure whether this is the center of the street or the side.
I'm sorry. I don't know if there's a road over here somewhere or not. Yes, this will be westbound. This will be eastbound.
Good, that clarifies that for me. Why don't you put your name down and the date, officer, and I'm going to attach that as Exhibit 2. Did you find any contributing factors in regard to the actions taken by Ms. Ramirez?
No,
She wasn't speeding?
no,
Are you sure? Were there any witnesses that you spoke to regarding her speeding or not speeding?
no, not really.
Those are all the questions I have. I pass the witness.
Thank you.